At this point, hopefully now you've built this. Now, if you didn't build this exactly, that's fine. If you want to start your project and build the first part of your project, that's fine. Again, for newer coders, I really do recommend building exactly this. It gives you something to compare off of. It'll even give you something to go look at. I'm going to save this code out there, and you're going to be able to go and see the code. But for now, I'm going to leave this as it is. I'm just going to expand it out a little bit. We have a person class, we have a guest class. We also talked about, and your assignment has to have at least 3 classes. Your 3 classes aren't necessarily going to be the same hierarchy. It's certainly going to be a different problem. That's for you to sort out. But I'm going to go build my second class out here, which is my customer class. Now, the customer class, we know we have some details on the customer. But we also know it's a type of person. It's going to extend person like we did before. But I want to add some more details to it. So private, string, first name, private, string, last name, private, string, username. It does not have to be that. I could have private int number of visits. It can be any data inside of here. It doesn't matter. I mean, heck, number of visits could be something in common for all people. And if it is, you move it up into the person class. Let's do that right now. Hey, this is something that I want to track not just for persons but for guests. So let's move it up into this class here. And then I'd come back and do some other stuff and fix the toString, add some methods. I'm just showing you an example, if something which you might do, but we're coming up with a few things here. All right, so now I'm going to do, again, Alt Insert. That's what we saw before. Pop up this menu. You can do it through right click as well. I'm going to create getters and setters, and this time I'm going to create them for all of these at once. I need getters and setters for all 3 of these at once and generate those. All right, I can also do a toString method here. I'm going to hit Alt and Insert, and I'm going to say toString method. And so you can see I can choose which to include to be printed out. All 3 of these are chosen by default. I can generate all 3 of them. So now I have a customer that shows me the first name, the last name, and the username of that customer. All right. So as simple as that. I mean, in less than 2 minutes, I came up and created my class. I decide what attributes are appropriate. Guess what? You're told what attributes it should have inside of the problem description. You just got to figure out that model. So there's some common ones for all 3. There's some that might be unique to just one of them. You code those in here as whatever the appropriate data type is, strings or numbers or whatever they're going to be. Then you can generate getters and setters for it. And again, each class needs a toString. Now let's see how this toString reacts when I go and add a different one inside of here. So I had my first guest was a guest, the second guest G was a guest. Well, I'm going to change the first guest to be a customer instead. Guess what? I can do that. All customers are people. All guests are people. So either one of them can be assigned to a people. I cannot say new customer here. In this case, it just says incompatible types. Just because they happen to both be people doesn't mean they're the same thing. I can't just have them be interchangeable. Again, dogs and cats. Just because they both are animals doesn't mean I can assign them back and forth inside of there. So I can make this there. You see I set the IP address inside of here. Now let's just run the code right here. Let's just, so this is a customer, this is a guest. I set the IP address in each one of these. I go in and run this. Wait a minute. So the second is IP address. The first one printed this other behavior. Now, this behavior we'll learn about next week. It's called polymorphism. What it's saying is the person class has this implementation for toString. Customer class replaced that implementation with its own implementation. The important word there being replaced. So when I take one out, the other one is completely gone. I don't do both of them. I do one or the other. And once, the guest class has no object in it, so I do exactly everything that's in the person class. The customer class then has its own implementation, so it does its stuff. So if I want to include the information on the IP address, I have to do that by hand. Not all of your code is going to be generated for you here. You're going to have to type a few things here. So I can come through here to the end, and I can say plus, comma, IP address, space quote, plus I'm doing string concatenation here. So I'm using the plus sign to add in stuff. I'm taking my text, I'm adding in here the IP address, and then I'm going to do IP control space pulled up. Nope, there's nothing there. I don't see anything there. What was the name of it here? It was called IP address, right? But why can't I see it? It's private. It's a private IP address. I can't see it. So there's a couple ways I can fix this. Number one is I can make this protected, so that way I can see it underneath. Or number two, since I'm just reading it, I can just call get IP address. All right. So that's a good option there as well. Get IP address. And then I have to put another plus inside of there. So this is becoming a very long line of code. I could easily break this up by putting these on the next line. I can make it a little bit more readable that way. So first name, last name, username, IP address. I'm putting that all inside there. Notice, again, I'm calling the getter for that. I could call the getter for any of these, but in this case I need to because it's private. It's from the superclass inside of there. All right, so run. Now, customer is null, null, null first. Why is it null, null, null? I never set it. Oh, yeah, I should go back and do that. Let's go by and give it there. So when I say p dot set, wait, IP address, p dot set, control space, IP address, wait a minute, I want to say first name. Wait, why doesn't it let me say p dot set first name? I know it's a customer. See, it's right there. Can I find symbol set first name on variable p of type person? Variable p of type person, but it's a customer. It's not. Oh yeah, the variable is a p. The shared behavior of everybody is everybody has a IP address. Only customers have. So there's a limitation there. So I can't do that. So I'd have to create this as to be customer C, new customer. And then I could call it P if I wanted to, but I'm going to change it to C down here just to make it really obvious. Oops. I just cleared everything off, hit the wrong key, hit the Windows key right there. So then make this a C here. Oops, and I put a V here instead of a C, which is probably why I hit the Windows key. There you go. So that little error, oops, C.net set first name, and this is Tony. C.set last name. Oh, see, that's better. Control space, code complete now helps me. Low C.set username. Tilo. There you go. Actually, my normal username that I prefer is Jello. So we'll leave that. Yeah, Star Wars fan. So then I run this. You can see Tony Low, Jello, IP address is first. So this is getting closer to what your assignment would be and what your assignment should be. You need to be showing all the pieces. You're going to have 3 classes. Our example had 3 classes. So just to show you one more time, I create a new Java class. This class was called a employee. All right. So that's another type of a person that was inside of there. And an employee could be extending out a person. Oops, sorry, caps lock. Extends person. It could do that. That's fine. It also could extend, if you choose, if your model is so appropriate, and could extend customer. So it would get all the behaviors of what a customer would have. It would get all of the first name, last name, username. That would all be there. Plus, it would have the toString for that. Plus, I can add whatever else I want to, like here. So let's just say I have a int customer ID. No, I'm sorry, employee ID. I will make this private. I'll hit Alt and Insert. I can create a getter and setter for that. And then now I want to do a toString. Alt Insert. Do a toString for that. Right there. On employee ID. But wait, I don't want, I don't want to have to go back and add 4 fields inside of there. That's just terrible. I could copy and paste this, I guess, but that seems like a lot of excess work. But never fear, I can, and I'm just do this a cheap way for now, I can say plus super dot toString. So what this is this is saying go to this customer class and call its toString method. So I'm going to steal all the code that was up here and run it. So basically what happens is when you call my toString calls this toString and runs it. And we'll learn more about this next week. That's polymorphism. I want to give you a little hint on this just to say if you end up in a situation like this, we talked about this briefly, this is what we're going to see. I'm not going to format it more. We'll format it more next week. We're going to improve that reuse a little bit better next week. But it gives me the option to come in here and I could say employee, control space, employee is equal to new, control space, employee. So it gives me the choice. I hit enter. E.set employee ID 1234. E.set first name, and this is going to be Bob. E.set last name Jones, not Jobs, Jones. E.set username BJ123. Put that quote in there. And E.set IP address and third. So then I can come down here and say system.out.println E. This is fundamentally what you're trying to get to. Is you're building your classes out. You're creating an instance of each one of these classes, and then you're printing them out. And each one's going to have set up slightly differently. There might be some things in common. There might be some things that are unique. They can be whatever structure you want to inside of that. But there you can see I have customer, person, employee, and that's what we're looking for.